Welcome to the Music for the Soul podcast, where we talk honestly about difficult things. This is a place where music, hope, and healing come together. I'm Becky Nordquist.
And I'm Steve Seiler. Thanks so much for joining us. We have on a man who is a jack of all trades, but unlike most jack of all trades, he's masterful at all of them. A great singer, songwriter, music producer, radio show host, and award-winning filmmaker, everything done with excellence. And I'm even leaving out some stuff. But welcome, Rick Altizer, to the show.
Hey, you left out really good friend, because me and you have been friends for a long time.
Yes, we have. As a matter of fact, when I first relocated to Nashville, Rick was my lunch brother. And how important is it, Rick, to have that relationship and that accountability when you're walking the Christian walk?
Oh, I would have to say it was a life-saving time. Those Wednesdays at Wendy's, we didn't have any money. So it was a water, $1 potato, and $1 chili, $2.
Do they even have the dollar menu anymore is the question.
And the manager, we were there so many times, the manager gave us a 10% off card.
That's
and
right.
I had mine laminated. And so I was able to get, so it was $2, with tax, but I had the 10% off. So I would get out for under $2 every Wednesday.
You are speaking to my very Dutch heart.
But what was so amazing about those lunches was that we were able to just the iron sharpening iron. And, we're struggling, trying to find what it was God was calling us to and what, how to love our wives well and how to be good dads. And just having that time was for me a complete lifeline.
I would say the lunches were cheap, but the conversations were priceless.
Oh, look at that. Of course, a songwriter comes up with that, right?
Of course.
The perfect songwriter line.
I want to tell you two things that you said to me during those times that have remained with me, that I return to. One day you said, God knows, so I don't have to. And I cannot tell you how many times I have said to myself, God knows, so I don't have to, when I'm trying to figure something out. And the other thing you said to me, because I've always been a big baseball fan, one day you said to me, you can't hit it out of the park if you're not in the game. Do you remember saying that?
I do.
So I stayed in the game, and by the grace of God, we got to hit a few of them out of the park. So thank you for that wisdom. I hope that is meaningful to some of those who are listening, because those two phrases have really helped me.
Well, I just jotted them down just so you both know. I mean, those are gems right there. And so did you play baseball? Is that how you got the ballpark reference there? Or was that
but I knew Steve was a huge baseball fan.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, Steve said to me once, because I have a tendency to get borderline, I don't know what the word would be. But he once said that was life-changing for me. He goes, Rick, what you have to realize is it's never that good and it's never that bad. It's usually somewhere in the middle. Mm-hmm. And that was really helpful for me. And he really knew me, because I have a tendency to, bad to really bad and good. Oh, it's awesome, amazing. It's like, well, no, it's not awesome, amazing. It's more in the middle. So I have a tendency to swing, maybe on the bipolar scale. I'm not sure, but that has been a life-changing for me, Steve. I can't tell you how many times in my mind I've thought, well, it's not that bad. It's not as bad as I'm thinking it is. Well, maybe things aren't as perfect as I'm thinking in my head right now. Oh, this is perfect. Well, no, doesn't have to be perfect. It's okay if it's just in the middle, So I think where the pressure of that is that I'm thinking things have to be perfect. Everything has to be good. Everything has to be like perfect good. But no, that's not real life. So that was really helpful to me. Real helpful.
He must attract those kind of people, because I understand what you're saying. So I just want to ask you, because we're talking music here. It is Music for the Soul podcast. And I'm just wondering, so has music always played a really essential role in your life from the time you were young, or what kind of role has it played for you over the years?
Well, wow, what a great question. I grew up in my parents got divorced when I was 14. A lot of anger in the home. So it was a very challenging, difficult time for me, 11, 12, 13. And so I discovered music around that time. And so I would escape into the music. I would lay on my bed with my headphones and look at the wall and just listen to music. My mom would go, "Rick, what are you doing down there?" I said, "I'm just listening to music." And she goes, "This is a true story." She goes, "Why do you listen to music so much?" And I go, "It's my life."
Yep.
As a 14-year-old, it's my life. So I would just putting those albums on and listening. And that was back in the day where, you didn't have Walkmans. You couldn't, it wasn't portable. I'm an old guy. So the music, if you wanted to listen to it, you had to either have a pair of headphones that were tethered to something, or you had speakers that were tethered to something, but nothing was portable like we have now. So I would just lay in my bed and listen to music. And it was a way for me to escape some of my pain, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So music was a way for me to find identity and purpose. And then when I found the Lord at 14, I got saved. As my parents were getting divorced, is when I got saved. Then finding Christian music was so wonderful to me, because then I was being able to get into what the lyrics were saying and think about them. And that's what's so powerful about what you guys are doing with Music for the Soul, because music really does connect in a deeper way that a book might not, but it hits you emotionally and cerebrally at the same time. So that was my inroad to music was that it's my life.
And sometimes in those places like you shared, music is what keeps you alive. A lot of times it just helps you get through painful moments and stuff. So I got to ask, could you give us 2 of your greatest musical influences in those years as you came to Christ?
Paul McCartney is all things and end all. I mean, he's the umbrella. Anything else would have to come under that. I mean, I like Bowie and Dylan and Springsteen and so many other people, but McCartney just had a whole other, and Lennon would have to be probably in that other list, but the umbrella is Paul McCartney. Just melodies galore.
And then who would you say in the Christian music realm, like after you came to Christ and you started dabbling in what the Christian music had to offer in those days? It's gotten so expansive now. Is there a couple that you could pinpoint in that genre?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Larry Norman for me was he was doing things that no one was doing at that time, and you didn't really have the Christian music industry like you had now. So he wasn't writing what a lot of people started writing, Christian fluff, what you would call Christian fluff. He wasn't doing that. He was writing about, gonorrhea and, things that you just wouldn't put in a Christian, today.
Right.
But he was very street. He was very real. And that's what I loved about Larry Norman was he was a great writer.
Yeah.
He was great. So it was kind of before the Christian industry existed. So it was just kind of a very honest way of writing songs about what he believed in.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because one Music for the Soul song in our catalog written by Rick Altizer is certainly not a piece of fluff. I would like to play a little bit of Never Shake His Hand right now, and we'll talk about it.
Shake his hand, although he asks you please. Never shake his hand, or you'll catch his disease. It's hard to gauge the power he commands. You can never shake his hand. Don't ever shake his hand in the loneliness of night. Don't ever shake his hand, although it feels so right. You must beware of the things that you demand.
Okay, Rick, could you tell our folks who are listening how Never Shake His Hand came about?
Yeah, I was listening to a song that Bono wrote, and he said, "I've spoken in the tongues of angels, and I've shook the hand of the devil." And at that time, Bono was, I don't know what he was doing, but just one day, I don't know, I was in the car or something. I said, yeah, you shook the devil's hand. You caught his disease. Kind of said it out loud, kind of speaking to Bono. Like, yeah, you shook his hand. All right, Bono, and you caught his disease. Is exactly what happened. And so I thought that just kind of hit me. Wow, that's really I think that might be a song.
Well, we wound up using that song as the opening track for Somebody's Daughter project, Somebody's Daughter, A Journey to Freedom from Pornography. The minute I heard that song, I knew what it was about for our project, right? I mean, the things that you think you're doing in secret, looking at things online or whatever, when your wife or your mom or dad or whoever is asleep and you think you're alone, not so much. Wanted to get that sense that if you're doing that, you're inviting evil into your life. And to me, what also comes as a reminder from that song is that God is with you in that moment too. There's no place to hide. Everything will be made, known.
Yeah, you cannot shake the devil's hand. I mean, you can't play around with it because you step in the ring with him, he's just going to take you out. I mean, he will take you out, and that's what he does. And so you can't compromise. You can't go and just, I'll just have a little bit of this, and it's okay if I just look at this, or boy, that girl in the office, she sure is attractive, and I like the way she flirts with me. You just can't go there. You shake the devil's hand. He's going to take you out. It's not like you're going to get hurt. You're going to get destroyed. So
well, he's seeking for somebody to devour. And when I hear you saying this, it's like, okay, how much poison is too much? Is there such a thing as a little bit of poison is okay? And the answer, of course, is no.
Yeah.
It's often in that slow fade mode, right? I mean, you don't even recognize it. You just toe the line just a little bit more. Oh, this isn't hurting anybody. Nobody's going to know. This isn't hurting anybody. If it's hurting anybody, it's only hurting me, but you don't realize that you're signing your own death warrant, So
absolutely. I was saying at that time, as I was writing that, I'm saying that to myself, I mean, I said it to Bono when I heard, in the car I'm driving, I hear, still haven't found what I'm looking for, and I hear him say that line. But then as I'm writing the song, I mean, it's to myself, it's from having shake the devil's hand and having compromised and seeing where that leads and just the destruction in my own life. It's like, what? You can't do this. And so it just came out of my own life stuff. This is the kind of stuff, I think I wrote that when we were having lunch, Steve, so that's just coming out of our lunches. It's just straight out of our lunches, It's where that song came from.
Well, and I have to say, I don't know if you know this or not, but that song is the source of by far our most expensive music video. We actually had rented a train, a real railroad track, and had to back that train up several times over the course of it one night to get the shot we were looking for. I really encourage people to check out that music video. It's online, of course, it's on YouTube. And when the video team came and told me what they wanted to do, I was like, that sounds expensive. And they literally begged and pleaded with me to okay it before we had the money. And thank God he provided the revenue over time to pay them for it, because it's an extraordinary piece.
A badge of honor I wear reluctantly, it wasn't just like, Rick, that was the most expensive video we ever did. No, it was a by far the most expensive video we ever did. So it's like, okay, I think that's okay. I don't know. I could feel bad about that. So,
and the award goes to
by far. It's not even close.
Landslide. Great. You've recorded several music projects, including Blue Plate Special and Neon Fixation, and they're really a mashup of styles. Who lately, we talked about your earlier inspirations through music. I'm just wondering lately, who's inspiring you through music now?
Yeah, I still tend to go to some of the older stuff. I like Blur.
Yeah, okay.
I like Blur a lot when they were doing the Ray Davies Kink stuff. And all the stuff I like is stuff that's reminiscent of the Beatles and the Kinks and the stuff from the 60s.
Well, it was all trickled down from them anyway, right? Yeah.
Right. So those are my influences, and I kind of stay in that world. Although I have kind of gone into prog rock a little more lately, enjoying some of the Yes and that kind of stuff.
Oh,
So
yeah. Oh, see, now that's just classic stuff you're talking about.
Well, I remember when you played Make a Monkey for me the first time, because of course I'd been hearing all of the songs that you were writing, and it's like you flipped a switch with Blue Plate Special. And Make a Monkey was the first song I heard from that project, what would eventually become that project. But both of those albums are filled with really what I would call, they may be derivative in your mind, but what sound like really fresh musical ideas to me and fresh lyrical perspectives. They were really both a treat. Yeah. But I know folks can check out all of your records at rickaltizer.com, can't they?
Absolutely. They can find them all there. And they're just anywhere where you hear music, Apple Music or Pandora, Spotify, they're everywhere.
So when I released Before We Said Hello, you had me as a guest on your radio show. And I just am curious, how did it come to pass that you began hosting your own radio show?
There's a radio chain called Bott Radio, BOTT. They have about 122 stations, and they're nationwide. And they started a new station here in Knoxville. I'm sorry, in Nashville, where I live. They started a new station in Nashville. A friend of mine who worked at the NRB network, they had asked him about, we want to find somebody local to do a show just on kind of local ministries in Nashville. And so he recommended they call me. So they called me, and I said, well, I can do media makers. I know songwriters and movie producers and singers and actors. I could do that. Christian media makers, because in Nashville, all that industry kind of exists and lives in Nashville. So it's a great pool to draw from, For sure. I've had Steve on the show and you, but I've also had, Phil Kagi and Steve Taylor and like the Kendrick brothers or Kevin Sorbo. So, just all that kind of stuff. So they said, yeah, let's do it. So I've been doing that show now, goodness, 6 years, 7 years. I can't even remember. Longer than I can remember. It's by far more than I can remember.
And there's the other award. Another by far. We're going to have to come up with some sort of statue and mail it to him or something. That'd be kind of fun.
I love it.
I knew you were going to be great with that because you've always been a great conversationalist, and you're wonderful at engaging people, laugh easily. I knew you were going to have a great success with that show, and certainly do appreciate that you've had both myself and Becky on. So have us on again.
Absolutely. I'm actually just this year, I've been asked to host a new podcast called the Faith Film Fan Podcast that's starting this year, nice. Which will just be about new films, Christian films that come out, kind of like just the news and update on what's happening with Christian films. And so I'm going to be the host of that Faith Film Fan Podcast. So that's brand new, just going to happen this year.
Well, I'm so excited for that. That's great. That is great.
You have provided me with the perfect segue to what I wanted to ask you about next, which is that you, lo and behold, have become an award-winning Christian filmmaker. And you're laughing, but it's true. I'm not making this stuff up. So how did you come to decide to put your toe in that water, and what's happened since then?
Yeah, it was never anything I ever wanted to do or tried to do. But I was working with a Christian comedian by the name of Shonda Pierce.
Sure.
And my business partner and his name is Kent Songer. And we were working with her doing her marketing. He was handling her marketing, and I was doing music projects for her, comedy songs. And I would do some videos here and there for her. Hey, Tulsa, Oklahoma, I will be in your town, on such and such a date. So I would go film those. And she told me one day, she said, I want to make a movie. And I said, well, gee, I can't help you there. I can't make a movie for you, but I could make a demo tape. Remember back in the day, Steve, when we'd have a little cassette tape and we'd put 3 songs on our cassette tape and we'd send it to the record company, a little demo tape, 3 songs. And if they liked your 3 songs, they would say, why don't you come into our studio? We'll get a real producer and we'll do another couple of songs or whatever. See if they like it. So I said, we can do a demo tape. I'll go on the road with you for a weekend and I'll get 5 minutes and, and maybe somebody will see it. She says, that's a great idea. So I went out there by myself, never done anything like that. I had a camera. I bought a little shoulder mount for my camera. My camera was on autofocus the whole time. I have been had a recording career, prior to that, have a recording studio. So I understood audio. So I was able to get good audio. I was able to get my audio good, but everything was on autofocus on my camera. And I went on the weekend with her and filmed and came back with 16 minutes, put a little 16 minutes together. I'd never done anything like that. They both, her manager and her, took me to a pizza place. And they said, Rick, we love this. This is awesome. We want you to do it. We want you to make a movie. Can you do it? And I gulped and said, sure.
Why not?
Trial by fire. Why not?
Never had a class. I'd never had one class on how to make a documentary. Never looked at one YouTube video. I just kind of thought it was going to be something that was going to be on her table, that they would sell on her table. And then they decided, her booking agent ran off with $100,000 of her money, and she lost all this booking and she lost all this money. And they decided to put this movie as a Fathom event in theaters, and they're going to spend $250,000 on marketing, and I don't know what I'm doing. And
probably just as well at that point, right?
Wow. I mean, the stress and the pressure, I really felt at times like I had a refrigerator on my chest. So it was just this, because I just didn't know what I was doing and made it up. And so at the end, we went to an editor who looked at everything and he said, well, you've actually made a movie. I won't take a full editing credit. You're going to get an editing credit. But he helped me kind of assemble it and finish it out. It ended up going as a Fathom event. And when it was released, it was the number 5 movie in America the night it was released.
Awesome.
So from there, it did very well. So Fathom wanted us to do another one. We did another one. That was at the time it came out, it was the number 5 Fathom event of all time. And then from there, we did Russ Taff and then another Shonda. And then the Kendrick brothers came calling. And then I did Show Me the Father for the Kendrick brothers that came out a year and a half ago. And now I'm working with Tony Evans on a project on the history of the Bible with Tony Evans. And so it just, I don't know, just one thing went to another. Don't ask me how it happened. I really don't know. It was God. I really can't tell you how it happened.
Rick, what I hear in that story is your willingness to take a risk, and that from being willing to take a risk, and I know you're a man who trusts God, that's where the reward came from. And that's where this amazing filmmaking adventure ride that you've been on for the last 5 years or so came from.
Yeah, it's insane. And again, it was totally something God did, because it was never anything I wanted to do. And I would tell you, it wasn't till I was in my 5th movie doing Show Me the Father, where I was editing. And I mean, we were way into the movie. Whereas I was editing it going, okay, God, I can see why you would have me do this. And it wasn't till my 5th film that I would tell you I wanted to make films. I wasn't even sure I wanted to do it.
Right.
But
I just have to say, if people haven't checked out Show Me the Father, watch the trailer. You'll be crying. I mean, I literally watched the trailer alone, and I'm just, it ruined me for the day makeup wise. So it's a wonderful work, and Shonda's hilarious. It's amazing. What I love that you said earlier too is that, you really can't say like how this came about. And so often people want a formula. Wouldn't you agree? They want the formula, but there really isn't one, is there? It's God's formula for your life.
Well, I can see now, looking back, I can see how God was preparing me for that. With the radio show, I'm doing all these interviews. I'm learning how to connect with people, how to engage with people, how to find the interesting stories that they have, and how to ask questions. Well, that's what you do when you make documentaries. That's what a director does. That's actually one of the biggest things you do is that interview, how to make someone comfortable, how to guide and lead an interview, and how to be engaged, and how to get a good quote unquote performance or whatever, but how to get them to feel comfortable to where they open up and share something that's vulnerable and real
Yes.
and intimate, which is a difficult thing to do for most people, but definitely
Yes,
if you're on camera.
I would say the strength and the power of these films comes from the honesty of the people as they speak with you. So I believe your ability to make people comfortable and to be willing to ask a difficult question, that comes through. There are moments in each of these films that shine because of their pure honesty, and you can tell this is not fluff. This is coming from the heart. They're all great. The Russ Taff movie, particularly, I found extremely powerful. So I encourage people who are listening to check these out. They're really worth your time.
You can watch Russ Taff, that entire movie, on YouTube. It's up on YouTube, so you can just go to YouTube. The first Shonda movie's on Amazon Prime, but Show Me the Father is on Stars right now, but it's really not streaming. You have to buy it. So we're trying to get them to where you can stream it, but Sony is, I don't know, they've been stingy, or I don't know what it is, why you can't stream it, but I don't know what the issue is, but
Politics.
it's a $13 watch right now. So it's a little bit of an investment, but yeah, bring some Kleenexes if you do watch it.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Well, Rick, I know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Do you have a mission statement for your life?
All glory goes to God alone. I just want to glorify Him. That's would be my mission.
Ding, ding,
'Cause I
ding,
just-
ding, ding. That's the correct answer.
I want my life to glorify Him, and so I want a movie. If I make a documentary, I just want it to glorify the Lord. I love Christian entertainment. I love that, and I watch it. But at my age, I'm getting older. I don't want to spend 2 years of my life doing something that's just going to entertain someone. I want to make a film. My bar, whether I get there or not, but I want to make a film that will change your life. You see the film and your life is not the same. It as a fundamental level, something is changed. And so that's what I want to do. And whether that happens or not, that's my desire. I just want to give glory to God. That's it.
That's a great target to aim for, and I believe God honors that intention.
May that be all of our desire and target in life is to bring glory to God. I love that. That's really good.
Well, with the film, everything, all this money starts getting in, and the marketing team gets in, and you get all these voices, and people want to look good. And so Russ Taff, they took me to lunch, and they said, if you were to make a movie with us, what would it look like? And I said, well, I'll put your name in the title, and you'll be in the movie, but I won't make a film about you. I'll make a film about the powerful redemptive work of Jesus. The last thing I want to do, have you ever seen those documentaries like, boy, that Russ Taff, man, can he sing? Woo, here's somebody else. Whoa, what a great singer. Oh, wow, that guy sure can sing. I mean, that's just so boring to me. I have no interest, in making a film about how great Russ Taff can sing. Although he is a great singer, to talk about his alcoholism and his struggle with addiction and the pain of his past and an abusive father and a struggle with his own God and a search for a dad. And, now that's a movie, and how how his wife stayed with him when he kept relapsing time after time again, how she stayed married, how they worked it out, and now how God has brought him to this place. That's a story I want to tell. That's giving God glory. That's a whole different thing. But not everybody is willing to be as vulnerable as Russ Taff was, and Shonda as well. Shonda is extremely vulnerable. So not everybody wants to do that. So there have been some other people that I've talked to, or they've talked to me, and I've told them what I want to make, and we ended up not making it because they're not ready to go there. Yeah. Maybe their marriage isn't really ready to talk about that yet because they haven't figured it out yet.
I hear you saying, the motivation has to be willingness to surrender and trust God with the outcome.
Right. And I think when we're all on the same page, we just want to help people.
Right.
We want to help all these people who are hiding. Like the Russ movie was about people who hide. I'm coming to church. I got on my nice Christian smile and I'm hiding.
Now you're reminding me of the song Traitor on the Somebody's Daughter project.
Yep.
I'm in church on Sunday morning, got the beautiful family, the shiny minivan. You think it's all good. I'm the worship leader. And whoa, you do not want to see behind closed doors.
No, and I'm hiding. I'm in hiding. And so this whole movie was about coming out of hiding, getting Christians to come out of hiding. And that's what it's done. You know, hundreds of people. I saw this and realized I needed to go to rehab. I saw this and realized I've been in hiding. So, you know, seeing that kind of show me the Father. DeSantis, the governor of Florida, has got it into every prison in the state of Florida. 90,000 prisoners are going to watch Show Me the Father.
Hallelujah.
So, you know, those kinds of things are just, oh man.
Our culture is screaming for less fluff and more real. And so I am so appreciative. I just want to take a second to say thank you for not producing fluff, but getting into the real hardcore reality of life, and not just for within the church. I think within the church, there are people that feel in bondage within the church because they are afraid to be real and authentic with the things that they struggle with behind the closed doors when they're not in church on Sunday. And we need the voices to say, it's okay. Jesus died for that. It's okay. It's all good. You can be real and honest and vulnerable because there's no shame. There's no condemnation when you're in Christ. And the more real we can be, the more we can be a light and a life force for those who really don't know that there really is hope. And the best hope is when we're completely honest and vulnerable, right?
And being able to be honest and come out of hiding. The problem with some of our American church is that there are some churches that aren't safe.
Right.
Whereas if I come out and say, I am an alcoholic and I've been struggling with addiction, or I've been struggling with pornography, then there's persecution, there's real retribution that happens. And so if you're in an unsafe church, you need to get in a safe church where you can say, you know, hey, I'm struggling. I'm having some sin issues in my life and I need help.
Jesus did not go to the cross to shame us.
No. And that isn't finding a place that then will validate and affirm your sin. Right? That's not what I'm talking about either.
Right.
We're talking about a safe place that'll say, hey, we're all sinners. Let's take this to Christ and let's find healing. But finding that safe place is so important.
Absolutely. And there are lots of churches too that I've found over the years that you're okay if you struggled with it 20 years ago, but you're not okay if you're struggling with it now. And that is crucial to find those safe, emotionally healthy churches where we're going to love you, walk next to you, help hold you up, and walk through this with you. It's a beautiful thing when you can find it. Sadly, it's sometimes hard to find, right?
Well, God loves us right where we are, no matter what we're dealing with.
Amen.
And he'll give us the courage, you know, he'll give you the courage to come out of hiding and say, I need help. I need help. And to find a safe place. And, you know, maybe you're thinking you're in a place that isn't safe, and maybe it is. You know, maybe you need to just step out and just say, God, I need help. I need help. That takes courage, but in faith, it takes faith. And faith is our work. That's where we work, is trust. That's the work, is to trust that God is good, trust that he's in control, trust that he's got that, you know, he's got this, he knows what's going on, so I don't have to, right, Steve?
Amen.
Right? That's
my new favorite quote.
And that's God knows, so I don't have to. But that takes faith. And to come out of hiding takes faith, to trust in God. And you know what? A great prayer is, God, I believe, help my unbelief. You know, if you're struggling with unbelief, that I really don't know that I can trust God, I really don't know that I can come out of hiding, you know, that God is going to condemn me. God, you know, ask God, give me faith to trust you in this, and to go get help, to say, I need help.
If you'd like to learn more about Rick Altizer, is it rickaltizer.com where they can find you?
That's it. Altizer.
Yep. And then your radio show is on?
It's the Rick Altizer Show. Anywhere where podcasts are played, you can hear it.
Look at that. And I would highly recommend it. He's got some great guests on there and great interviews. And we just want to thank you so much for being with us today. You are a delight and a blessing. I'm so grateful to know you through Steve, and you walked me through one of my very first interviews, and you were so kind and so patient, and made it really painless for me. So thank you for your words today. And if you enjoyed the discussion today, please share it with a friend and give us a positive review on iTunes.
And please visit our website, musicforthesoul.org, where you can stream or download every song in our catalog, including Never Shake His Hand, read our lyrics, our healing music guide, our blog posts, and much more. Thank you, Rick, for being with us. And thank you, folks, for listening. God bless.
Never shake his hand, although he asks you please. Never shake his hand, or you'll catch his disease. It's hard to gauge the power he commands. You can never shake his hand. Don't ever shake his hand in the loneliness of night. Don't ever shake his hand, although it feels so right. You must beware of the things that you demand. You can never shake his hand.
Vicarious thunder, obsequious.
Never shake his hand, you're no match for his grit. Never shake his hand, you can't give him